Hello everyone, and welcome to Ariana's Food Adventures. This adventure is day number 6, and we are making our walking taco. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get marching, cooking. That's right, cooking. Alright, so I know I got quite a bit of spices for my marching tacos, but I'm gonna make my own taco seasoning. Tablespoon of chili powder. We're gonna take our cumin, and we're gonna do a teaspoon and a half of that. A teaspoon of salt, alright, teaspoon of black pepper, alright, half a teaspoon of paprika, alright, half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, quarter teaspoon of oregano. Alright, these two are completely optional, so if you don't like anything spicy, you can totally leave them out. But I got red pepper flakes and cayenne pepper. Same thing, about a quarter teaspoon of red pepper flakes, quarter teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And you're probably wondering why I put it in a mason jar, and simple as this. So all the spices are in there, just give it a little shake. And look at that, they're all combined. Easy peasy, folks. Alright, so I got some ground beef here, and you notice I grabbed 73% lean and 27% fat. That way it's just nice, moist, ground beef. Feel free to use as little or no fat if you prefer that, but it's better to have some fat because you gotta have some flavor to it. Alright, so I got a nice large skillet here, and what I'm gonna do is just drizzle some olive oil to it and then set it to the burner on medium heat because we wanna make sure we brown the ground beef. And I'm just going to start breaking up the ground beef. And we're gonna brown this, and then I will show you the next step from there. Alright, so our ground beef is all brown, so what we're going to do is we're going to shut the heat off. We're going to drain this just because you can see how much oil is in there. That's okay, that's perfectly normal. So we're just going to drain this, we're going to pat dry the skillet, and then I'll show you this next step from there. Alright, so once our ground beef is drained, just dump it back into the saute pan, just like that, and sprinkle in our taco seasoning. And basically the seasoning is perfect for 1 pound of ground beef. And we're going to add 2/3 cup of water, just right on in. And just give that a nice little stir just to thoroughly combine the spices with the ground beef and with the water. And we're going to lower the heat, and we're going to simmer this until it's nice and thick. Alright, so while our ground beef is simmering away, I'm going to talk about some chips. So for marching tacos, or aka walking tacos, you can use any chips. The classic is the Frito-Lays. I like the Cool Ranch Doritos. It's just my personal favorite, but feel free to use whatever chips you want, folks. Alright, so just discuss options you can do for your marching taco. Feel free to do as much, little, or none at all, or whatever you see fit. There's no right or wrong or way to assemble your marching taco. So you got your ground beef, you got your cheese, so if you want to do some shredded cheese, wonderful. For a little crunch, you can do some lettuce and diced onion, and then for a nice little creamy, sour cream. Well folks, thanks for tuning in for today. See you next time.